Well, hello, Vivek. Here we are again. We've had a bit of a gap, haven't we, the last couple of weeks? It's the 25th of October today, so not quite Halloween. But a couple of weeks ago, you had a few technical issues, didn't you? So we decided to abandon it because the picture quality was too poor. And then last week, I was in Dorset, so I was swanning off somewhere. I had a few days off, which was very nice. But here we are again, resuming our video logs. So I wonder if anybody's missed us. I hope they have. But anyway, we'll just run through the agenda for what we normally cover. So we start with a Just a Minute, where we each give a little bit of a synopsis about our businesses and what we're doing. Then we look at the week gone by. We follow that up with the road ahead, and then trick or treat, just in time for Halloween. So without further ado, I'd like to ask you, Vivek, to introduce yourself and do the Just a Minute slot.
Namaste. My name is Vivek, and Vivek Technology Integrators is my company. I believe in living a simple life. I believe in thinking differently. I am proud to share my beliefs with Steve Jobs and Leonardo da Vinci, who said, "Simplicity is the ultimate in sophistication." Just as I keep talking about technology and difficulty with technology, I myself had a bit of problem last week, rather a couple of weeks. It was to do with the broadband, so I couldn't really do much about being online and creating the vlog. But anyway, when technology gets confusing and you are trying to market your product, your services, it's easy to get confused because there are so many different technologies. I would say avoid the cowboys, let the Indian handle the technology. Makes it so easy. If you want to simplify your life, contact me. My contact details, as ever, will be in the description of this YouTube video once it is uploaded. And yeah, that was my Just a Minute. It's over to you. I'm giving the blue box over to you, Corinna.
I was just about to say, am I getting the blue box? Thank you for the blue box. Do I stand on it? Do I put it on my head? What do I do with it? But yes, yeah, I'd just like to endorse what you do, Vivek, because it's absolutely true. That, I mean, I'm an IT trainer by my background, so I'm pretty much up on technology and picking up the software and so on. But there's just so much these days, and you know, I spend, obviously I want to do my own job. I don't want to spend a lot of time sorting out software issues or learning new software. And I know that you've helped integrate my devices, which has been good. So I thank you for that. I think you know, you are a specialist, but you put a human face on it, so you're able to communicate the technical stuff, which is great. So very grateful to you for that. So just a quick bit of an aside there. So my Just a Minute. Who am I? I'm Corinna Shepherd, and my company is Dancing Kites Creative Learning. And I'm passionate about unlocking potential through creative and interactive learning. And basically that means whole brain thinking. So it's using the fun side of your brain as well as the serious side of your brain. And Dancing Kites itself is really, it symbolises what I try to do for people. So the kite could represent your life. It could be a particular aspect of your life, but it's a dream, perhaps something that's unfulfilled at the moment. And you want it to dance. You want to dance up in the sky. You want it to be free. And a lot of people don't even know what design they want to put on their kite, let alone how to then let it take off. So my role in a number of ways is to help people work out maybe what they're good at, what they could be spending their time on, how to play to their strengths. This might be if they're dyslexic, but not necessarily. And then how to get that wind to let the kite take off and actually dance in the sky. So certainly it's been a picture for my own life, and it is for the people around me who I interact with. So that's me, and that's a little bit about what I do. And it's great fun working with people and seeing them change and their kites take off. So that's our Just a Minute slot, and now we're going to go over to the week gone by, and I'm going to give you the blue box, Vivek, and tell us about what you've been up to.
I've been busy doing lots of study. I'm trying to get Google Analytics certification. This is from Google Academy, Google Analytics Academy. And there is actually a last date for sitting the exam and finishing it, 30th of this month. So I'm trying to get through that.
Must be busy then.
Yes, Google has done lots of changes these days, last few days, and the major reason, I mean, not reason, it has quite a lot of impact on the businesses, especially those who have been outsourcing their social media. It just came to my mind that I just had minutes ago, I had quite a few messages flying back and forth about people who are business owners. If they can't handle the social media, and if they outsource it to somebody, you need to make sure that whoever you outsource it to, that person has the right social outlook which matches yours.
True.
And that's a very important aspect, because in most cases what happens is this outsourcing happens to somebody like me, for example, someone who is an engineer, a software developer, maybe a website developer, maybe an engineer of some sort. By nature, we are not tuned to being social animals. So if we have to represent messages which represent business owner, unless the business owner gets involved right through, it will not happen. And I bring all this up because Google has made so many changes. Previously, all these SEO experts, they used to stuff keywords into the pages, website pages,
yes.
Visible, not visible, and in many cases, you can see some pages, and when you look at some pages, if you look at possibly Corinna, you can relate to that more, because if you look at the English,
yes, quite,
the English doesn't make much sense at all, because what they're trying to do is stuff keywords.
It's written for the search engine, not for the end user.
Yes. So that has been going on for a long time, and Google decided that no, we need to clean up the world or clean up the internet. So they are bringing in lots of changes. Hummingbird is a new algorithm which says context sensitive search. So that has a lot of implications. So I've been studying all these things that happen. So
maybe you can tell us a bit more next time about some of this. That sounds all very interesting.
The problem there is it still gets into quite the bits that I understand really are more technical. So maybe I would need to share it with you separately, and then you can maybe translate it into English. Okay,
all right, sounds good. Then I learned something as well, and you learned something as well. Sounds good collaboration.
Yes.
Great.
So that has been my week. Haven't been doing much of networking because I have been busy studying up on all this, the semantic search, the Google Analytics, the Academy, reading up on the. They actually give you. This is the thing. They expect you to watch a short video they say it is short video, 10 minutes,
Yes.
but it is so packed with information.
Yes.
I find that I keep rewinding it and stopping it, rewind, stop,
Yeah.
going back.
Mm.
It's so full of information, so it takes a lot of time to understand. And
And some of these YouTube videos I found, they speak really fast. Either that or I'm getting old. And you just, when you're trying to absorb something new, you need them to go slower so you can absorb it. And you just rattle through it, don't they? And you just
yeah, some of them do. And yeah, that's another aspect. Google is actually tying the comments and a few aspects of YouTube with the Google Plus. So Google Plus is taking on a major role. So if anybody out there is not on Google Plus,
okay,
you are actually losing out on a huge opportunity, huge.
Yes. I think there could be an ebook in this for you, don't you think?
Yes, there could be an ebook, but yes. As I said before, yeah, ebook.
Yep.
If I write it in technical language, no one wants to read it. So
no. A Google Analytics for Dummies, perhaps, something like that. Great. That sounds all very useful, and I'm sure that will put you in good stead for future business and helping people.
Yeah. So apart from that, I have been participating in quite a few hangouts with various different people. I have been hanging out with Martin Shervington.
Mm-hmm.
And actually, if you go to his website and look at the videos that he provides,
yes,
they are highly educative. And since Martin himself is he's actually a stand-up comedian.
Right, that's useful.
So naturally, when he talks, it's
entertaining. Yeah.
It's entertaining. It's language which everyone can understand. So.
Well, you see, it's an example of creative learning, isn't it? So
yes,
you're having fun and you're learning, and you learn more.
Yes. So I have been hanging out with him as well, and a few other Google developers. Mm-hmm. So I'm getting quite if you exposure. Yes, I'm getting noticed by quite a few people.
Excellent. Yeah.
And, that has been my I should say couple of weeks that have gone by. Apart from one of them was sorting out the broadband issues. I think finally broadband seems to be okay.
Good.
So that has been my past weeks gone by. So
great, interesting.
Giving the blue box back to you.
Great, you're going to let me get a word in edgeways now, are you? Okay, well, my week gone by, I won't tell everyone about my nice week the previous week, and lovely countryside and walks and having creative space. I don't need to tell people about that. But actually what was interesting, that when I was away, as always happens, I got some really interesting ideas for my business, and I'll share more later on, but one or two things really exciting. I've already had follow-up conversations, so more to develop the Dancing Kites brand and sort of coming into maturity really, but I'll keep you in suspense about that for now. So on Monday I refilmed my business video, because I did one a few weeks ago. I was really pleased with it because I want a video to go on my homepage on my Dancing Kites website, because what I'm doing is I'm gradually putting more and more videos onto it, because it makes it more dyslexic friendly, and then I'm also using the videos in my YouTube channel which I'm developing. Details are underneath in the description as viewers know. But when we recorded it, the room where we recorded it was actually very echoey. and we both weren't really quite happy with it, so she offered to do it again for me, just, you know, free of charge, you know. So she came round to my house and we set up all these lights and had to move the furniture around, and I had to quickly hoover underneath the sofa all the rubbish under there, and then we redid it. It was actually a lot easier this time, because last time we spent a good couple of hours just to get like a 2-minute video, but she was so good, sort of calm Holmes, at actually getting me to relax, even though I do lots of presentations and I'm used to being in front of the camera. Just having this big camera on a big tripod in front of you and these lights, it's quite sort of psychs you out really, and just to feel natural, you know, like we're talking now, it's just felt quite difficult. So she got me to that point where I was more relaxed and able to share genuinely about my passion for helping people and so on. And yeah, I'm looking forward. I haven't seen the final cut, but she's also interspersed something called a scribble video, so it's going to have a bit of me introducing it at the beginning, and then I've done a voiceover with some graphics, you know, for the picture superiority effect that we were talking about, and then there's me at the end with a headshot and encouraging people to sign up to my newsletter, because they'll get a free gift if they do that. So I'm really excited about it, because it's all about my Dancing Kites creative learning system which I've devised, and hopefully it's going to be a very effective way of communicating that. And I can of course use the video and make lots of promotional materials and LinkedIn and email newsletters and all that kind of stuff. So I've also had my Dancing Kites logo animated, so on the video I'm going to have my kites will be dancing, so I'm really pleased about that too. So hopefully, maybe by next week I might even have it up and running, and perhaps even have a little demonstration, or maybe even include that for next week's trick or treat. We'll see how we are with that. So that was really exciting, and I can't wait for that. I also did my last group leading session at 4N Tame on Wednesday. We've actually moved to a new venue in Stokenchurch for various reasons. Nice hotel. But I just felt it was time to sort of step down and move on a bit really, and I've been putting an awful lot of energy into the group, keeping it going, inviting people and so on. And I've had some really lovely comments, and several people have said it's their favourite group and there's a lovely atmosphere and they love it, which is lovely. But people don't tend to book up for the next time, so it feels like constantly you're trying to get people along to the next one, do lots of work. So I just felt it was time really to step down from that. It became very clear again last week when I had some space in the countryside, that I needed to really put my efforts into, you know, finding some more kites to fly, finding some more people who want to improve their lives, and actually focusing on that, because that's where I believe I can make a real difference. Been doing lots of other networking. So on Wednesday I did 4N Tame in the morning in Stokenchurch, and I jumped in the car, went down the motorway, and then I went to lunchtime Basingstoke 4N, and again made some interesting connections. So always get lots of positive comments, feedback and so on. Doesn't always lead to sales, but you never quite know. But got some very positive leads there. And then today I was at Milton Keynes lunchtime 4N, so I've done 3 meetings this week, which has been quite fun but quite tiring as well. I was supposed to be combining it with a mind mapping session this morning beforehand in Milton Keynes, that's why I was going, and then the lady concerned, her son was ill, so she's had to postpone the sessions, sadly. So, but I went up anyway and I did a bit of work up there, so that was good. We also had a session, didn't we? A meeting, and we started looking at vision boards. And I just want to say a little bit about vision boards, because last week I suggested to my husband that maybe he'd like to do a vision board, because we've never sat down and shared that kind of stuff, and he seemed quite happy. So I had to pack a suitcase with all my creative stuff, included a load of manuals and sort of magazines. And we sat down together, we looked through some magazines, and I've created 2 new vision boards. And for viewers who don't know what a vision board is, it's where you actually create like a card. I suppose I could show it, maybe next time I'll show it and think of that, on a big piece of card, and you put either pictures or phrases or a bit of both, things that really speak to you, that sort of resonate. And it's often about really tapping into your deepest desires and what you really want. And you know, if I say to you, well, what do you want to do, you know, you find it hard to answer that because you've got lots of ideas going on. But actually, hopefully we can finish this process by sitting down with the vision board and finding things. You already found a few key phrases and pictures, didn't you, that spoke to you. And it's a really effective, as a creative learning way, if you like, of setting goals and thinking about your future, designing your kite. And there were 1 or 2 things on there. There's one thing in particular, and I'll share more another time, but my husband sort of latched onto it and said he thought it was really significant. And we were actually sat up late on the Saturday night discussing what this could mean, and it's a way of adding it to my Dancing Kites brand. I really feel that my brand is maturing, and it's adding, to start off just as dyslexic books, and it's now becoming so much more, just around, you know, whatever people want their kite to be. So but it's early days. Perhaps I'll share more next time or the time after. But I had a Google Hangout with someone this afternoon who does a lot of networking in the Link for Growth network, and I think this could be absolutely key to help me connect with creative people who I want to help sort of launch their kites and promote what they do through my website, which is effectively what it's about. So that's another way that I can be helping and earn a bit of passive income as well, which is good. So that's really exciting, and I know we sort of started the process, and I think maybe you found it a little bit strange to begin with, but hopefully we'll finish that and it will be of value to you. I mean, not everybody takes to it, but I think those who can embrace it, it can really work. And there was also something else which I don't want to share yet, but on a personal level, that I put on my vision board, and within 3 days something started to happen, which is actually quite amazing. And if that happens, that will just be a huge thing for me. And so it doesn't always happen that quickly, but it's like magic. You put the stuff down and it's like there's this energy starts to flow through it. And if anybody's interested in doing a vision board with me, I'd be delighted to, because I love doing it, and it's just such a brilliant way of actually helping people, just inspire them and get them, if they're stuck, to move on. And I also had a very interesting chat with somebody who, when I went to Fora in Ascot a couple of weeks ago, and I came and did the foresight, and I talked about dyslexia and the law at work. And I met her before, and we'd had a chat before about maybe helping her with mind mapping, and it didn't quite happen, but we gelled, and she came up to me after the meeting, and she said she'd really like to be involved somehow in getting me into businesses to do dyslexia awareness seminars and helping people. She deals with business communication. So we had a follow-up Skype call a couple of days ago, and I find Skype is so good because I've got quite a few follow-ups at the moment, and it just saves a lot of time and petrol and energy, you know, having to go out and meet somebody. You can, you know, it's like here, it feels like we're in the same room anyway, you know, you've got the technology. Google Hangouts, Skype, same sort of thing. And again, that was really positive, and we're exploring a way that she might be able to bring some of her experience to bear, so I get a really good package together, and maybe in the new year I'll really focus on that, and, you know, offer sort of consultancy and training and support to help dyslexics in the workplace and help people to be compliant. I mean, I can do it now if anybody's interested, but, you know, that probably be my focus mainly in the new year. So again, there's lots of different things that are coming up, you know, green shoots of stuff. So yeah, there's room for growth and room for more people to come on board to do stuff. But there's lots of good ideas and stuff happening. So that's good. So that takes us on now to the road ahead. So tell us what's on your road ahead, Vivek, and have the blue box on me.
Road ahead for me is, yes, I want to complete this Google Analytics exam, finish it. Since it is online, I can hopefully do it through the weekend, and that would be good. And then, yes, you have given me some ideas.
Yes.
Maybe start writing a book in some shape. So, yeah, it's good. At least what's in my head can come out on some shape or form.
That sounds really scary. I joke. Sorry, you're making a serious point there, but
yeah, it's about all this semantic search. Google is such a good fit for me, mainly because Google themselves are bringing different technologies together.
Yes.
They are integrating different technologies and social media and bringing them all together. So Yeah, essentially that's going to be my road ahead.
I hope you'll do some mind mapping to plan out your book and get your ideas down.
Yes, I think
Give
I
it a
need to
go
do
and
that.
run them past me, you know.
Yes. Uh-huh.
Yeah.
I also, yeah, you were mentioning vision board.
Yes.
I had a bit of trouble yesterday, as you noted. Bit of problem with my feet actually. So
Oh, yes.
I still need to wear shoes which don't have the heels, or rather the what is it called? Uh, because of my shoes.
Oh, I see. Yes.
Hurt, and so can't wear the shoes. I need to wear shoes that are open-ended shoes
Mm.
for now. So anyway,
Mm.
so
Yes.
that's more or less my road ahead. It's bumpy, and my legs are hurt.
Oh. So maybe you
Road
need to get
ahead.
a lift then rather than walk it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay,
Okay,
so
I'm passing the blue box back to you.
okay, thanks. So the road ahead for me, I mean, I feel there's so many different things I'm trying to get off the ground at the moment, and but they do all sort of fit together in the branding. I've got a dyslexia assessment I'm doing on Monday. I had a mother who emailed me a couple of weeks ago, and interestingly enough, she contacted me early this year, and then I never heard anything more. And you think, okay, that's the way it is. And then suddenly, out of the blue, she's contacted me again. So sometimes these things do take a little while. So I'm assessing her little boy, and then maybe I'll take him on as a new pupil and do some after school stuff with him. I'm certainly seeing some lovely results with the children I'm working with. I've been winding that side of the business down a little bit, but I don't think I want to stop it altogether, because it is lovely to give these children such a good start and help them be more confident and so on. So I'm looking forward to that, and some training. I've got some mind mapping training coming up, and another pupil I've got doing some mind mapping. Yeah, networking. I mean, for me, it's such a good way of marketing. So I've got a couple of networking groups I'm planning at the moment to go to 4N in High Wycombe, and then I'm substituting for somebody at BNI next Friday, the Marlow Thames group, substituting for Joe. So basically I can eat her breakfast and I don't have to pay for it. So they were a really nice group. They want me to join. I don't know. I'm still in two minds about it, but they're very, very good, very focused, and very welcoming. So I think they've got a lot going for them as a group. So wish them every success, whether I join them or not, or join them later on. I'm having a follow-up call with Chris Ogle from Link for Growth. We just had a very positive conversation, and I just love his vision for just networking in a different way and facilitating. And I think we've got very similar aims, really. And this particular idea, which I'll share more later on, he's very keen to sort of help promote me, and he's a big fan of Google, as you've both seen him on the circles or whatever, on Google Plus. And I've also, on your encouragement, I've been using a bit more Google Plus, and I need to learn a bit more, because but I put a couple of posts up and added to my profile and all this sort of stuff.
Martin Shervington is.
Yes, you mentioned him. If you send me the link or show me the name or whatever, and I'll look at that. But
that's one. Then and the other aspect is your cat is getting popular.
Yes. Well, that's right. Oh, I've got lots of. Oh, I'm always happy to talk about my cats. My two cats called Haley
and you should actually post some of your photographs from your holidays.
Yes, I could do. Yes.
And that's it's just as 4N is 50%
yes.
50% business.
Yes.
Google Plus is also very similar.
Oh, that's good. It's a nice feel to it. Yes,
there is the major aspect of social.
Yes.
So.
Yes. Yeah, so anyway, so it's all exciting, more stuff to learn and the mix of everything else. But yeah, that's good. I don't always find the Google stuff that intuitive and easy to get into when you're used to Microsoft and used to things being a particular way. But I'm sure I'll get the hang of it, and if I'm stuck, I'm sure my expert over here will help me, will take pity on me. But yeah, that's good. So time's marching on, and I'm going out soon, so you better carry on with this. So the phone's going, I'll have to ignore that. So just pretend it's not on the video. So we're now on to the trick or treat section. So Vivek, do you have a video for us this week, or are you just chatting? I'm not really sure. What are you talking about?
I'm actually talking more about Google Plus actually. Hello viewers, as promised in the last video blog, I am making a short presentation about Google authorship today. I would try to answer the questions why, how, and give an example. Why bother with authorship? If you have blogs of any type, you want them to be found by people. When people search for information on the web and they see results, there is a natural tendency to check out the results which have picture of a person. Now, this ties in well with the picture superiority effect Corinna talks about so often. The way Google shows search results now is so that articles that are written by authors with knowledge and expertise show up towards the top of the search results. This would work very well for small business owners who produce quality content on the web. So, if your blog contains any valuable substance, you would want it to be associated with you as the author. Google provides a method which will establish the authorship of such content. You would need to establish two-way link between your content and your Google Plus profile. Let me state them again. Link your content to your Google profile and link from your Google profile to your content. Let us see how to link your content to your Google Plus profile. To create a link to your Google profile from your web page, you need to incorporate HTML code like this in your content. Now here, the text in black can be used as it is. Text in red can be modified as appropriate for you. But the long number shown in yellow there actually represents the ID of my Google Plus profile page. You will need to replace it with the ID of your own Google Plus profile page. You would need to find your ID by going to your Google Plus profile page. Now, refer to the image above. You would just need to browse to your Google Plus profile page and copy the long number that shows up in the URL as encircled by the red ellipse in the above image. Hope you can see the image properly. Your article should state somewhere that it is written by you, and the name should exactly match the name you use for your Google Plus profile. You would be able to do that once you are confident enough to dip your hands into a bit of HTML code in your blog post. There are, of course, extensions and plugins available for various content management systems such as Joomla and WordPress, but I'm not covering that here because it is too evolved a topic in itself. Please bear in mind that Google suggests that you associate only valuable content, which is your own creation, with your authorship data. As you know, it is never a good idea if you are trying to claim someone else's work as your own. And if Google finds it out, you will face heavy penalties. The second step of the verification process is to add a reciprocal link back from your profile to the sites you just updated. To add links to your Google profile, you need to sign into your Google Plus profile, click Edit Profile, click the Contributor to section to the right. Depending on how many photos you have, you may need to scroll to see this section, and then click Add Custom Link. You can then follow the instructions on screen and add link back to the website content you created, which is probably your blog. Make sure that it exactly matches the actual link, and you would also be able to verify it. So please do that. Verify it. All this you can do when you are editing your Google Plus profile. Now, to check your markup and see what author data Google can extract from your page, you can use the structured data testing tool available from Google Webmaster's Tools. But as of now, it actually checks for individual pages. So page by page, you may want to check if you have lots of pages which you want authorship about. So that's this little presentation. Hope it has been useful. For more information, you can always contact me, Vivek Baindoor, at Wake Technology Integrators Limited. Thank you. The trick for this week from me.
Okay. Right.
So, as I've given the blue box back to you. So, I had a few questions about dyslexia, and I suppose you can answer them.
You can try me, I might. Well, I was intending to talk about my assessment procedure, so perhaps if I go through that, that might answer some of your questions. Should I start with that? And then Okay. I mean, I assess children and adults at my centre, the Dancing Kites Creative Learning Centre, which used to be called the Children's IDL Centre. And it's a very good sort of initial assessment or test. So it's not a full-blown dyslexia assessment, which would take about 3 hours, and is normally done by an educational psychologist. But actually, I pick up an awful lot just working for an hour with the individual, and often pick up all sorts of things like whether they've got musicality and whether they like art and all kinds of stuff, just by tuning into them and seeing how they interact with what I'm asking them to do. And I always found that where the parents come, say with a child, they've come with an assessment, which I wouldn't have time to read first. I then do my assessment, that my results always match pretty much what the 3-hour, £500 plus assessment did. But of course they then put a lot more detail in, and I have to say that the report they give is not at all dyslexia friendly, because I struggle to understand it, you know, and I'm a dyslexia expert supposedly, so you know, I just about can't cope with a summary and if there's a few diagrams, and you know, and it's not that I can't, but it's just, it's hard work. I'm thinking a lot of these children will have dyslexic parents as well, and then they type it up on a serif font, and it's like people, they just got to walk the talk really. So I just thought I'd quickly go through the process that I do. I know time is sort of running away with us, so I'll try and keep it fairly brief. And I do the same whatever age. So you know, I always start at the beginning with each person, but obviously treat each person differently. I don't want to be patronising to somebody and treat them like a 5-year-old, for example. I do a reading and a spelling assessment, which we do at the end, and even for adults. And I always say, don't worry about the age. You know, if I said to you, well, you've got, you know, a spelling age of 12, you could feel offended by that, but actually spelling age of 12 is pretty much an adult or getting on for an adult, so it means, you know, you've got a reasonable adult level of spelling. So I always have to be a bit careful about how I sort of phrase that. And generally when particularly children come to me with their parents, often schools say there isn't really a problem, but there is, and it's the schools tend not to do anything much until the child is 3 years behind, at least 3 years behind. Somebody said that actually it's now 4 years behind. So if you've got a child who's, say, 3 to 4 years behind academically, then you assess them. How are they supposed to catch up in that time with just perhaps an extra hour or half an hour a week or two? And they've lost all that time in terms of confidence and so on. So sometimes children are not as far behind as that. They tend to say if a child's reading age is the same as their chronological age, then that's fine. But actually I don't agree with that, because I think if a child is bright, their reading spelling age should be ahead of their chronological age. So if it's matching their chronological age or only a year behind, they might actually be 3 years behind where they should be if their natural ability is 2 years ahead, if that makes sense. So I mean, it's just a number, and it just gives a bit of a gauge and an understanding, and it certainly gives me a starting point when I work with the software that I use. So it's part of the whole package. So I do that at the end, excuse me. But what I would do to begin with is I would do a series of colour filters. Excuse me, I'm going to have to have a drink of water. A frog in my throat. So I'd get these colour filters which I overlay on a piece of paper with lots of typing on it. And they're not supposed to read it, because say if you've got a 6-year-old, they wouldn't be able to read all the text. But what you can find is that overlaying with colour filters can really help the words to stand out or to stand still. Again, maybe I can talk more about that another time. And that can be a sign of dyslexia. Excuse me. We're going to get through this all right. Then another way I look for visual processing difficulties is the type size or the point size. I'm getting croaky here. And if they prefer a bigger size letter, bigger size font, if they've had an eye test and it rules out any sort of visual, you know, eye problems, then it's to do with how the brain is processing the text. I then go through the names of the letters and the sounds of the letters to see if there are any gaps there in their knowledge, because often, particularly the sounds, if they don't know, like a cut is a cut or an or whatever, then that can affect their reading and their spelling. I'll see if they know their vowels. I'll ask about their times tables, but I won't sort of test them on that, because that's showing about, that's assessing about sequential thinking. So again, every child, every adult is different, so they may be good in one thing and bad on or less able in another, but it's the whole mix, it's the blend of talents and difficulties that we're looking at. I ask them for the days of the week in the right order and the months of the year, and that's again about sequential thinking, because sometimes children can struggle with that. It's a bit like the left and right thing, you know, people can get that confused. And then I do a working memory test, or what's called auditory sequencing memory test, and I will give some numbers randomly, and I've got them written down, fortunately, I wouldn't remember them, and they have to remember to start with 2 numbers, then go up to 6 or 7, I think it is, and then they have to repeat them back. And this is where sometimes the musicality comes out, because I would say something like 25963, and then they will say 25963 again in the same rhythm. You see, so I'm not going to sing it to you. I know you're going to ask me to sing in a minute, aren't you? And I'm having singing lessons, but I'm not singing, not on this video. And when they repeat with the same rhythm, I know they've got a sense of musicality, and it's some little things like that that I often pick up, and I say to Mum, and they're quite surprised often, you know, and they think, oh, well, actually, maybe, yeah, he's been wanting to learn to play the guitar or something, so that's lovely. But the real killer of that one is then sometimes they manage that pretty well because they're a bit sneaky, and they might use the visual techniques. They might visualize the numbers and say them back, which is what I would have to do in a situation like that. And so they can rattle them off, and, you know, they can't remember what they've just said. And then the next stage is they've got to reverse them. So the 25763, whatever, they then have to say backwards. So they have to remember all the numbers. And you start off with 2 and they build up. All the numbers, hold them in them working memory, and then swap them back, remember them enough, and then say them back. I don't think I could do that. I don't know whether you could. I think I wouldn't do it. So, and often they get a low score at that point, even though they've done well in the first bit because they've used their musicality or their visual processing. And I'd say pretty much every child, adult who comes to me with dyslexic tendencies has poor working memory. It just comes with the patch. And they may not have very bad scores in other ways, but that will impact in all kinds of ways. And again, we haven't really got time to go into, but it just underpins how people process information. So if that's slow and that's weak, that's just going to affect all kinds of things potentially. I then look at how they blend sounds. So I would say something like, you know, what does that spell? And then they've got to put that together and say that's cat. So they're taking the 3 sounds, they're blending them, they're sticking them together. Then next up we do a sort of visual discrimination test where they've got to check. They've got like the word on the left hand side, and they've got on and no and other things on the right. And sometimes they swap the letters, so they'll match things that are actually swapped over. So that shows that there's a bit of visual processing issues going on there. Then we have 2 sound discrimination tests, and one of them is purely like 2 words like gate and cake, for example, and they've got to say, is it the same or different? And they may not hear the difference in the sounds. You may hear them, but, you know, and as long as no hearing test has been, you know, they've had the hearing tested and their eyesight, then you know it's something going on internally in how the brain's processing. So it's not to do with the physical ear and how that's hearing. And then the other one is quite hard, where you have 4 words like cat. This is not these, but this is the example I use: cat, cut, cot, and bat. So I give them 4 words, and one's the odd one out by the first letter. So that's the bat is the b, and all the other ones are the k. But they've got to remember 4 words. They've got to then isolate the first letter on each, and then remember which is the one that's different, and then tell it to me. And so if they've got poor working memory, that's just a bummer really for them. And they may actually be okay with their sound discrimination, but I do apologise, the phone's gone, someone's trying to contact me, I'll have to go in a minute. So what I'm saying now, so it may be the working memory that's putting the score down for that. And then there's one other thing I do, a cross-lateral test. So I get them to pick up, it's like a telescope, so a toilet roll covered in foil, and I tell them it's a magic telescope, and the 10-year-old boys look at me and say, yeah, right, you know, it's a toilet roll, isn't it, miss, you know. And then to see how they do, there's a little test there, but I don't think I'm going to tell you about that because I'm giving away too many of my trade secrets here. And I can tell whether they're cross-lateral, in other words, which side of their body and their brain is dominant. So there's actually a lot I can pick up just in an hour with doing these scores. So that's just a quick run through with a bit of background noise as well, just to add to the sound effects. Obviously, I can talk a lot more about any of this. If anybody wants to contact me, you can have a Skype call or a Google Hangout or a phone call if they have concerns. I've also got an online dyslexia test on my website, www.dancingkites.co.uk, which actually pretty much goes through some of the examples of what I do here. So people can do an online test. just to get an inclination as to whether it might be an issue. So it's not a full-blown assessment, and I wouldn't want somebody to come back and say, I'm dyslexic because you told me. It's not that kind of thing. It's just to give people a bit of an inkling. So does that give you a bit of a flavour for what that's about?
Yes, you have done more than what I asked for, but
yeah, okay. Maybe there's more to chat about with you another time, because I really have to go. I'm concerned that someone's been trying to phone me 3 times now while I've been on the phone, and because we were running late, my Mutomatic app, of course, had finished. So otherwise, we certainly wouldn't have got the mobile interruption. So I do apologise to viewers that we've had a bit of background noise, but it's live, isn't it? So that's what we're doing. So I think we need to wrap up now, and so I'm just going to sign off for now. So I'm Corinna Shepherd from Dancing Kites Creative Learning, unlocking your potential through creative and interactive learning. And you are?
It's Vivek Baindoor signing off, and integrated we live. Thank you.
Thank you.